You gave up a TV job to start a podcast in your basement. If that doesn't scream midlife crisis, I don't know what does.
It was Championship Sunday here in Indianapolis. What's the mindset then coming in as a defending champion?
I want to win. No, I want to win.
The young lady over my shoulder, Caitlin Clark.
Not the best looking guy. And I don't think anyone's going to sit here and say, Matt Randazzo was really good looking.
What has this last month, 2 months, 3 months been like for you? It's an important fan base for the Fighting Illini, is it not?
It is.
He turned 69 years young last week. He looked good, Coach.
Oh, try it. Thank you.
Welcome to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities, Thursday, August 14th. Thank you guys so much for joining us. If you're watching us live on YouTube, thank you. We appreciate that. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, all of those fun things. The chat has been a little more active this week. It's something where when I first started this thing, there was a lot of chatting going on, but I didn't know what I was doing. So I was running around with my head cut off. Things have slowed down a little. So I'd love to converse, chat, read your comments on air, all that kind of stuff. So hop on the YouTube and leave comments, all that kind of fun stuff as well. We are also live on X. X has been very good to us as well. And then, of course, you can check us out on all the podcasting platforms that you get your podcasts at. So you name it. Spotify, Apple, Podbean, iHeart. You should be able to find Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Subscribe to that on as well. And check out the show. Any way you check it out, we greatly appreciate it. Working our way through the week, really, really excited about today's show. A lot to get to, a lot of good people on the show today. Really excited about that. So we'll start with the best of the best, in my opinion. We're going to be joined by former Rock Island standout, professional basketball player, former NBA player, and soon to be Stanford Hall of Famer, Chasson Randle will join the show in just a matter of moments. I've talked to people, anybody I talk to, I'll tell them, one of my favorite people I've ever gotten to cover here in the Quad Cities was Chasson Randle. And I've got to follow his career from Rock Island to winning Mr. Basketball in that state championship to Stanford. Me and Andy McKay went up to Northwestern when Stanford was close. I remember Big Steve Campbell going down to St. Louis when Stanford clinched their ticket to the Sweet 16. So remember him playing in his first NBA game. Me and Andy McKay went up to Milwaukee for that. So one of those guys that I've really gotten to know, really respect him as a basketball player, as a human being, and happy to call him a friend. Somebody I keep in touch with to this day quite frequently. So Chasson Randle coming up on the show. If you had not heard, he is heading into the Stanford Hall of Fame, the all-time leading scorer in Stanford history. That's happening on September 26th. So we'll talk with Chasson about that coming up in just a matter of moments. Also, we'll continue our high school football previews today. We're going to head right down the road from my house. We're going to head out to Rockridge High School. Rockets are always good. They're good once again this year. They got one of the best quarterbacks in the area. So we'll talk with Sam Graves about the Rockets, their expectations for the season, and much more. That's coming up a little bit later on in hour number 1 of the show. And then in hour number 2, we will head to the Iowa side, kind of stay in that same direction. We'll head down to Muscatine and check in with head coach Mike Truitt, who's entering season number 2 as the head coach, but his 11th season with Muscatine, and they're going to look to hit the ground running this year. Excited to chat with him coming up in just a little bit as well. Don't forget, the View from the West kickoff party is this Sunday, something I'm working on with our good friend Greg Armstrong, Mitch, and all those guys over at View from the West. It'll be a View from the West kickoff party, 5 o'clock Sunday down at the Other Bar in Moline. Encouraging anybody who wants to come on out. We're going to be previewing the Illinois side of the river high school football. That is the View from the West thing, and they do it really, really well at a high level. So you can check out the show 3 places: on this YouTube channel, on the View from the West YouTube channel, and then I'm pretty sure my Twitter account or my X account will have it as well. But if you can, get down, check it out. Check out View from the West, the live show at the Other Bar. We'll have some Snoop's Chips and Salsa in the house. Thank you to him. We'll have some Godfather Pizza in the house. Thank you to Andy Furman and Godfather's, 2 great sponsors of this show. Mobile Party Experience, I think, will be set up outside to kind of show off what they have when it comes to their party trailers and all that. So it should be a fun evening. So get on out, check it out. If you can't join us here on the YouTube channel or View from the West YouTube channel as well, I will say this, because the fact we're going to head down to the Other Bar tonight and kind of test everything and set up a speaker system and all that kind of stuff, no show tomorrow. So there won't be a show tomorrow. Working on adding a new sponsor. I'm excited to debut and unveil next week, Skiles Driving School here in the Quad Cities in East Moline. So we're going to work on that. We're going to get ready for the show and all that kind of stuff. So no show here tomorrow. That doesn't mean you can't watch the YouTube channel and check out all the shows from this past week as well. If you're an Iowa fan, I would encourage you to go check out last Friday's show. We were live in Iowa City. Kirk Ferentz, Mark Gronowski, Addison Ostranga, a bunch of Quad City Hawkeyes as well. Yosei Epinesa, Pat Angerer, you name it. Tom Caker, Jay Kidwell. It was a fun show. Go check it out, because you get, like Tommy said earlier this week, you get like a fire hose of Iowa athletics and news, and you got to drink from it quick because it's gone away. And we won't really hear much more until game week, which is coming up soon, 2 weeks from this Saturday. So I think that's all kind of the news and notes when it comes to what we're doing here on the show and what's coming up. Couple quick notes from the world of sports. Cubs win. They're back on track. They win 4-1. Cade Horton's been fantastic. That rookie continues to pitch really well. Snapped a scoreless inning streak at like 28, but he only gave up 1 run, struck out 8. Cubs won 4-1. Brewers won again. They've now won 12 straight. So still a 7.5 game lead for the Brewers. And actually the Cubs are closer to not making the postseason. I think they're 5.5 up in the wild card, maybe 6.5, something like that. I should know. Good research on my part. So Cubs got to get things turned around. They have one more with Toronto, and then they got Pittsburgh this weekend. So a chance to make up some ground. I know the schedule gets a little easier. I think it gets a little more difficult for the Brewers, but tip your cap to the Brewers. They're playing fantastic baseball right now. They won 11 straight earlier this summer. They've now won 12 straight. So, yeah, tough to catch a team playing really good baseball like the Brewers, but we'll see what the Cubs can do the rest of August and September as well. The big news for the Cubs is that they've added a bat to their lineup, and it's a guy they weren't going to trade at the deadline. A lot of Cub fans wanted to see bigger moves made. Yeah, they made some moves, but they wanted to see a bigger move made. But it would have meant parting with this guy, Owen Casey, Cubs top prospect, I think 35th in Major League Baseball. He's been called up. He's a Canadian kid, so he will join the Cubs in Toronto. If I were the Cubs, I'd put him in the lineup and see what he can do. But the Cubs' top prospect, Owen Casey, a guy they did not want to get rid of. Of course, everyone kind of looking at the fact that, if they can't re-sign Kyle Tucker, that this is the future in the outfield. So we'll see if he can give the Cubs a little bit of a boost as they hit the postseason. Owen Casey called up. He's in Toronto and will be with the team today when they take on the Blue Jays. Also, one little note from the NFL, my Lions, but it's an Iowa-related note. Dan Campbell just mentioned that Sam Laporta got dinged up. He's dealing with a minor injury. He's going to miss some time. Doesn't seem too serious, doesn't seem major. I would expect him to be ready for the start of the season when the two-time defending NFC North champions kick off the season at some dump called Lambeau Field. No, I'm kidding. I relax. So, anyways, NFL season will be here before you know it. College football season 2 weeks from Saturday. Actually, it's 1 week from this Saturday for Iowa State as the Cyclones get ready to head over to Ireland. We'll have more on the Cyclones next week as well. And then, of course, the Iowa Hawkeyes and Illinois get going the following weekend. Illinois on Friday night, Iowa on Saturday, high school football that Friday night as well. So a great time to be a sports fan right here in the Quad Cities. Speaking of being a sports fan, I've been a fan of Chasson Randle for a long time, and recently he got some big news as he continues his career in professional basketball, but some good news when it comes to his old college days. And we are happy to be joined now by, get this, a Hall of Famer. In September, he'll be a Hall of Famer. He's a Hall of Famer here in the Quad Cities anyways. Chasson Randle joins us right now. How you been, my friend? Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm blessed, man, to be here, living the dream, and enjoying life as a future Hall of Famer.
It's crazy. So I want to start with that. I always like to catch up with you other stuff, and people love knowing what you're doing and where you're playing and all that kind of stuff. But to get that call, I mean, it's a no-brainer. I know you're modest, but I'll tell everybody it's a no-brainer. All-time leading scorer in school history, all that kind of stuff. How do you find out about it? Is it even on the radar that you know it might happen? Or take me through that process.
Yeah, so the call, I was headed to the airport, flying south to go see family, and got the call from the interim AD. She gave me a ring, and she was like, "Oh, I hope I'm delivering some good news." And she's like, "We're gonna induct you into the Hall of Fame this year." I'm like, "Whoa!" It caught me completely off guard. It was something that I didn't expect to happen. Something that, I didn't know would happen, but I'm surely glad that it has happened. It's one of those things that I know right now I'm proud of, and, something that my kids will be able to, look back, 30 years from now, 40 years from now, and see their dad's a Hall of Famer for his university, and all the hard work that went into playing for the university, and, trying to win games and trying to represent the university. I feel like this has kind of solidified that a little bit for me.
Absolutely. I remember the process and the recruiting process for you and where you were going to go. And I remember you announced probably over the high school. I remember going over to the high school for your announcement, and it was Stanford. And if I would have told you that day, I interviewed right after it. I remember it. If I would have told you that day that we'd be sitting in 2025 and I'd be up in my loft talking to you on Zoom or whatever, and you'd be a Hall of Famer at Stanford, what would you have thought if I would have told you that at that time?
At that time, I would have thought you were a madman. You know what I mean? I knew I was good back then, but I didn't know what I was walking into by choosing Stanford. I knew that, I was going to get a great education. I was going to have to work my butt off to achieve that. And, I was hoping that I would get the opportunity to showcase myself on the basketball floor. And lo and behold, 4 great years there, and a couple NIT championships, a Sweet 16 appearance, and, a couple records broken. So it was awesome. It was an awesome time.
It's funny because when I always reminisce about Chasson, I start in Rock Island, and I almost get stuck at Rock Island because that was when we were like I was actually watching it, but we were watching from afar, and I was bugging you back then. I remember going to Northwestern with Andy McKay because you were playing Northwestern. That was the closest. We looked at the schedule like that's the closest Chasson's going to get. We're going to get up there. But you look at it, and you kind of mentioned it. All-time leading scorer in school history, 2375 for points. Sweet 16, 2 NIT championships. He averaged almost 20 points a game, 19.6 points a game as a senior. Most games started, 142. Most minutes played. How about this? 4,791 minutes you played at Stanford. So it allowed me to go back and kind of reminisce about you. Did finding out this news allow you to go back and reminisce about the Stanford years as well?
Yeah, a little bit. Just one, when they, release videos and, you see old highlights pop up, you see this guy with the hair and
you look like a little baby. You look like a baby.
Basketball, yeah. Yeah. Even the older pictures, and videos, it's like, you get a chance to sit back and bask in those old memories. And then, on the other hand, it's like you get calls and text messages from people that you haven't spoken to, in over 10 years sometimes. So a lot of memories came back once that started happening, and, all the congratulatory messages and all of that came along with it. It was phenomenal just to be able to, think about some of those times and some of those memories that were made with a lot of great people and the relationships that were built. So I'm grateful, I'm thankful, and, I look forward to celebrating in September.
Do you have a favorite memory from Stanford? I mean, you mentioned the Sweet 16 run. Remember that was like, wasn't it in St. Louis? And then you played in Memphis in the Sweet 16. You probably earned the trip to the Sweet 16 in St. Louis, then went to Memphis. You got the NIT titles, plural.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're the most valuable player in one of them. Is there a moment? Is there like a regular season game, breaking the record? Like, is there a favorite moment at Stanford?
Wow.
Yeah,
I don't
tough.
think I can pinpoint. Yeah, I know. I don't think I could pinpoint just one moment. We had a lot of battles in practice every single day. Like, from the moment I stepped on campus to the time I left, they did a great job recruiting guys who were, pushing the envelope and pushing players to get better. And, I can go through a ton of those memories, but to win my last game in the Garden as a senior, and have that as my last game is something that I think is special because it's rare. Not many times do you get to finish your career on a high, winning a basketball game. There's only typically only 2 or 3 teams that do it a year. So that's one. I'm kind of cheating a little bit with that, but that's probably the one that I'll say. Just winning my last game as a Stanford Cardinal.
No, that's a good one. Chasson Randle joining us right now and off the air with Matt Randazzo. Chasson, the one requirement or one of the requirements of making the Hall of Fame is this little thing that you've been out of school for 10 years. That I don't want to say you're getting there, but like I'm old. That's 10 years. Was that one thing that popped through your mind? Like, man, it's been a decade since I've been, out west playing for Stanford and winning a lot of games and all that kind of things.
Yeah. So when I got the call from the AD, and then all of the other team members helping to coordinate reached out. They were like, yeah, this is your 10th year, your first year eligible. I'm like, wow, 10 years. That's like, it's almost a lifetime. It seems like, but you know what? I think that over the time period that I've been off the farm and started my career as a professional, became a father. Once you think about it, it's like a lot has happened in between that time. Mm-hmm. So I'm grateful that I've, been able to continue living this life and challenging myself to grow and become a better human being.
This is your third time on this goofy little show. And the last time we talked to you, you were going to, I think, Rwanda over in Africa to play basketball. It sounds from everything I've heard, and I talked to your dad too, and we talked before we started, and I know you enjoyed the heck out of it, but I talked to your dad probably at the Sharp Shootout, and he said that you were loving it. And so tell me about it. What was that like going over there? And it seemed like an amazing experience once again for you.
Yeah, like it was phenomenal just to be able to step foot on the continent, not knowing what to expect, but when you get there and you see that everything is, amazing, just like, for lack of a better word, like from top to bottom, the way the organization was ran, APR, they did a great job bringing me in. My teammates were awesome. The environment at basketball games was insane. You got drums playing, you got live music, you've got, the fans packed from floor to ceiling and they're going crazy just for like, you don't know sometimes who they're rooting for, if they're rooting for you or the other team, but it was amazing. And, just to experience the culture over there. My kids were welcome, my family was welcomed. And, it's one of those places, one of those experiences that felt divine and it just felt right. So I'm grateful for them. And, we made a lot of great memories over there, a lot of great friends over there. So we'll look to continue, building relationships and maintaining relationships. And hopefully, if I'm not playing back over there at some point, I'll definitely be back to visit. We enjoyed it that much.
Oh, that's outstanding. Chasson Randle joining me right now and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. I asked you the last time, and not a lot's changed, but it's always it's fascinating for me to find out what's next for you. And every time I talk to you, you got like ideas and thoughts and options and all those kind of things. The options are good because that means people still want to see you play, and you love to play basketball. Where are you at right now? What's next for you? And as you continue this, I'm telling you, you got to write a book. I've told you this for years now. You have to write a book about your journey because the ups and downs and the ebbs and flows have been amazing. But what's that next chapter for Chasson Randle look like? Maybe next year.
Yeah. So the next chapter is to be determined. To be honest, I'm kind of taking my time, evaluating what's in front of me, some of the options that have been placed in front of me, and then kind of just, making sure that whatever decision I choose is right for not only myself, but my family. It's about more than just me at this point in my career. I've been blessed to do it for 10 years, make a lot of money, see a lot of, cool places. But now I just got to make sure that my next move is my best move and that my family's happy, they're comfortable, and I'm able to, support them and provide for them in the best way possible. So just taking my time. I'm going to go and play in September for the G League United team that'll be playing in the FIBA Intercontinental Cup in Singapore. So I'll do that and, buy myself some time, have some fun, make some more memories, some great memories, and hopefully come back with another championship and, just take it from there.
I love it. You mentioned that family. You're a dad now. What's that like? How are the kids? I know that like you love being a dad. So kind of talk to me about what that side of life is like for you right now with your awesome wife.
Yeah, it's amazing. My daughter, she's 10 months now, going on 11. And, she's the first one up every single morning and she's bringing all the energy. And then my son, once he's up, those two are just like, the best of pals. And, every day is full of joy, full of love. It's challenging at times. I definitely will say that. The 2-year-old is, he knows it all. He's been here before and lived this life many times. So he keeps us on our toes, but and so does my daughter. But we're enjoying it as parents, me and my wife, and my hat goes off to her too for all the time and all the commitment and sacrifices she's made to make sure that I can continue to live my dream and that our kids are safe and happy and enjoying their childhood as well.
How's that jump shot for the little one? Are you starting to work on it already? Are you that dad that's kind of like, hey, if you throw that away, make sure you snap that wrist when you throw that away? One of those things?
Yeah, no, he's took a liking to basketball.
Shocking.
I think just naturally, just going to games, since he was 3 months old, 4 months old, or whatever, and seeing his dad out there doing his thing, and it's always on in the house. So it's kind of hard to not take a liking to it. But I'm not pushing him any direction. I just want him to be a kid, have fun, and if he decides to work at it and try to make a career out of it or make something out of it, I'm going to be right there to support him.
I want to end the family talk a little bit with your parents. And I saw your dad, I saw your mom at the Steamroller game last weekend. And first off, you're starting to look more and more like your dad. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's probably a bad thing, but I'll leave Willie alone right now. But how was that conversation maybe with dad and mom about becoming a Hall of Famer? Did you call him up? Did you tell him? Like, how did that conversation? That had to be a special conversation for you to, give your parents the news that you're a Hall of Famer at Stanford University.
Yeah, my dad was super excited. My mom was very excited as well, for a multitude of reasons. Like, we made that decision together for me to go to Stanford and pursue an education as well as athletic career. So for it all to kind of come together, and the last stamp was to be, I guess it wasn't a goal of ours, but to be able to be recognized as a Hall of Famer, kind of just stamped everything for us. And my dad, he's very excited. He's kind of like about time. But
Dad,
for me, it's like. Yeah, you got to. These things, there's a maturation process to everything, right? So, good things take time. So, we're all excited, and I can't wait to celebrate with it in September.
That's awesome. Before I let you go, a couple different. I always have weird questions at the end. We're talking about this process. I remember you picking Stanford. If Stanford wasn't number one, do you know who number two was, or where you would have went? Do you know in your mind, like, if you didn't go to Stanford, I would have gone here, or do you not even know that? Or you're like, shut up, Matt, I don't want to tell anybody that.
Yeah, no, I don't want to say. Like, I like to think that I did know, but who really knows? You know what I mean? What I would have done. There's a story I'll tell you off air, about where I thought I was going as a sophomore, but it worked out. Everything worked out. So I'm grateful.
Absolutely, it did. Okay, last one. And I don't know if I ever talked to you about this, but this world of college sports is crazy. And now that you're going to the Hall of Fame as a Hall of Famer at Stanford, your thoughts on the transfer portal or NIL? I mean, you making a lot of money playing basketball. You're a little bit too early, or you wouldn't make a lot of money playing basketball in college as well. Your thoughts on the whole? I mean, it's a loaded question because there's so many different aspects to it. But I mean, you stuck out so many things, and you you didn't have to transfer. You didn't have to hop all over the place. You didn't make the money though either. Your thoughts on the world of college basketball right now?
It's like the Wild Wild West from what I'm hearing. I follow it, a little bit myself, but I'm not like fully immersed into it. Because I feel like I'm so far removed. But, I think it's awesome for these kids to be able to, monetize themselves and make money and, provide for their families. Like that's something that we all wish we had, when we were playing. But at the same time, I think, there needs to be a level of professionalism that sticks, because now pretty much you are a professional, as a college player. So I think that, there'll be rules and regulations put in place. And I think everybody's trying to kind of figure it out. So it's kind of wild right now, but it's an exciting time to be a college, athlete. And, as things change and the landscape changes, I'm sure there'll be more things added to the rules and taken away. But I think it's awesome for a college athlete to be able to make money and to be able to have some freedom and decide where they want to go too. I think back when I was playing, dang, that sound old, man. Back when I was playing,
You're still playing.
Back in my day, basically, if you transfer, you had to sit out, for a full season, and you lose that year. Nobody really wanted to do that, so we kind of had to stick it out, and it built character, and taught you a lot of life lessons when you're placed in certain situations. So I'm grateful for my experience at Stanford. I'm grateful for having the opportunity to play and not having to deal with some of the things that players go through today. And I know there's probably a lot of more added pressure, with all the NIL stuff going on too. So it's like, you can't look at someone else's situation and think, I wish, that were me or whatever. I'm just happy that I had my experience, and I wish the best for the ones going through theirs right now. So it's kind of where I'm at.
No, absolutely. Well said, as usual. Well, I'm extremely proud of you. You'd be surprised. The Quad Cities is, I'm sure your phone was blowing up when the news came out, but it was funny because it's like, mine was too. It was like, hey, did you see Chase in this? And everybody was talking about it. So I know you know this, but no, the Quad Cities is still watching. We're still extremely proud, all those kind of things. And enjoy September, man. It's going to be a fun time. And you're not old. You're just getting started. You're a young pup. You're a young pup in the business. So as always, I appreciate you. And thanks for doing the show again. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Oh, of course, man. Thank you for having me. And, shout out to everybody in the QC. I appreciate the support and love.
Absolutely. Chasson Randle, Hall of Famer at Stanford. Thanks, my friend.
All right. Thank you.
All right. That is Chasson Randle here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities, a Hall of Famer out for the Stanford Cardinal. Exciting to see that for him coming up in September. We got more to get to. High school football season right around the corner. We're going to preview the Rockridge Rockets and their head coach, Sam Graves, next right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. All right, be honest. Are you craving Hungry Hobo again? You know, that fresh sliced meat piled high on those amazing sandwiches, hot off the grill chicken and steak with all those delicious toppings, the biggest and best selection of baked potatoes, or simply some waffle fries dipped in cheese. Well, now that Quad City favorite is even easier to get. Download the Hungry Hobo app today. Order ahead, skip the line, and earn rewards all at the same time. There's Double Points Monday and exclusive specials as well. With 12 locations in the Quad City area, it's Hungry Hobo. Now even easier to find, but still hard to resist.
Rafferty Funeral Home, dedicated to serving families in the Quad Cities since 2007.
Hi, welcome. Here, come on in.
An experienced staff plans each service to reflect the unique life and legacy of your loved one. Rafferty Funeral Home is proud to serve our community with dignity, respect, and compassion, helping you to celebrate your traditions and lasting memories no matter your faith, culture, or budget. Rafferty Funeral Home in Moline. Call today to discuss prearrangements.
When it comes to quality, convenient pizza, Godfather's Pizza in Silvis has you covered. Featuring a beautiful dine-in area, delivery, and a carry-out window. Godfather's Pizza is that pizza you grew up with, not a convenience store. You see, at Godfather's Pizza, the dough is made fresh daily. That mozzarella cheese is shredded fresh and never frozen. And those toppings are abundantly piled high each and every time. Locally owned and operated since 2010, Godfather's is a huge supporter of local athletes right here in the Quad Cities. So come on by and check them out at 1211 Avenue of the Cities in Silvis. Order online at godfathers.com and reunite with that same delicious pizza you grew up with. Are you looking to take your next party, tailgate, or golf outing to the next level? You need mobile party experience. MPX features 3 top-of-the-line party trailers equipped with all the amenities you need to party like a rock star. Smart TVs, Yeti coolers, JBL sound systems, grills, bathrooms, and much more. Mobile Party Experience is an experience like no other. Check out my-mpx.com or call 563-514-1470 and book your mobile party experience today. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. High school football season now nearly just 2 weeks away. Coming up tomorrow will be the 2-week point until we kick off the high school football season. And where I'm at out here in South Milan is what Ethan Happ famously coined it. I'm real close. I'm in Rockridge country. So I've already gotten enough trouble from my wife because she's a Rockridge grad. And she's like, when are you going to preview the Rockets? Well, never fear. Sam Graves is here. It's something when my wife wants to see Sam Graves. I don't know if it's because of Rockridge. It can't be because of that handsome face of yours, is it?
No, heck no. I mean, this caveman looking thing isn't too pretty.
Coach, I appreciate you doing this. Before we get rocking and rolling and talk about the Rockets this year, kind of talk to me about the summer a little bit. How did things go? And I know you got there's some talented kids in that school. And the beauty part is they're all playing different things and doing different sports. What are the summers like for you at Rockridge when it comes to football and kind of balancing them with everything else that goes on?
Yeah, summer's been great. I mean, that first part, we really have like our work ethic and our attendance. That was something we hit big with the kids is the attendance control when you can be there and be there. We know things go on. We tell them we're never the team that's mad at you for going on a family vacation, a fishing trip, whatever. Like those are opportunities you can't pass up that you won't get back again. So we understand that. But if you can be here because it's important. And the guys have bought into that. We have great attendance for this summer for our size. You know, I think you probably ask any small school coach and they want more numbers right now, but for our numbers, it's been fantastic attendance. So, you know, I think it's been, not going to lie, it's been a little juggling act with the reduced contact days from 25 to 20. We try to let the kids enjoy the summer, but I have been a guy that's used them. I always feel like heading into the season where, you know, we just feel behind if we don't. So even losing 5 doesn't seem like a big deal, but it is. I mean, I'm here to tell you right now that we're almost 2 weeks away and I'm panicking.
You need another 5 days, right? They took it away for you. Well, Coach, you look at it last year, obviously such a great season. Before we talk about this year, and I don't want to dwell on last year or anything, but it's just Rockridge and their tradition and their culture. I mean, the expectations, Coach, are always extremely high, and you guys seem to embrace them. Just kind of talk about that because it's not like, hey, I want to get to the playoffs. It's what am I going to do when I get there? And that's where it kind of starts, and not putting cart ahead of horse with this year's group, but talk about the tradition that's been not built because it's been there for a long time. When I was young, I remember some amazing games there too, but the tradition at Rockridge and your program in general.
Yeah, I appreciate those words. That's nice to say that. You hope people see it. But we do have very high expectations for the guys, you know, and that's not just on the football field. That's everywhere. I always give them that first speech of summer and then the first speech of fall in case you get some new freshmen or whatever is always, it is not fair to play football at Rockridge because I'm telling you right now, there's going to be kids walking the hallway that do the same things that you do, and they're not going to get in trouble like the way you are. We hold them very accountable. We hold them in very high regards. But we want them to wear that Rockridge logo name on their chest proudly and represent us the right way. And that's just the way we've done things. And we do hold the kids accountable. We have high expectations. I know I'll preface this by saying I never mean to sound conceited or arrogant or cocky, but people ask all the time, well, what's your expectations about this year? Have you guys done individual goals, whatever? Maybe it's get to that 5 wins. And I always tell everybody, like, listen, man, we're not a 5-win playoff team, celebrate, hand out playoff T-shirts team. Like, that's not our goal. We don't, like, that's not it for us. We expect to make noise in November. And And I think when we lose in the second round or quarterfinals, it's disappointing. And however, you hope that then once that disappointment ends, the seniors can reflect a little bit and say, gosh, dang it, that was worth it. Like that sucked losing. And I cried, and I'm not with my brothers anymore out there, but man, was that worth it. And that's, we're going to have some hard practices. We're going to have easy practices. We're going to laugh together. We're going to have some good times together, but it's going to be tough sometimes. And we do have those expectations. You hold yourself the right way when you're here. You hold yourself the right way on the field. And we're going to work on getting better each week. And we don't talk about wins. You ask a kid out here and they can't tell you any record we've ever asked them to get to. We don't celebrate the fifth win. I mean, it's just another game, and we get better going into next week because we know week 6, 7, 8 isn't the end of it. And we can't stop getting better at that point. So we just communicate with the guys all the time about getting better. And as long as we're getting better each week and learning from mistakes, then by the end of the year, we're going to feel pretty good about ourselves.
No, absolutely. And you look at kind of the way last year ended, it probably motivates some guys moving into this year to be hungry, and if they weren't already hungry at Rockridge. And one of those guys, Coach, I kind of joke, like, getting out of the TV business, I always had those guys that, like, man, if I had a dime for every time I called that kid's name, like, I could have actually retired instead of just playing TV host in my loft. But Colin Schweigen was on the way to being, he was already that kid, and, like, he's got 2 more years left. And when you look at what comes back this year and motivated young men, it's nice to look, and everybody says, hey, who's the quarterback? Well, you've got an extremely familiar face that's already accomplished a ton. That's just a junior. Kind of just talk about Cullen Schweigen and building maybe around him.
Yeah, I mean, we've been very blessed, I will say, around here for quarterback play. And I think people would tell you in a Coach Graves offense, the quarterback's the most important part. And I know a lot of people, that's coach talk. A lot of people can say, yeah, you losing games up front with the offensive and defensive line. You got to control the line of scrimmage. But if you don't have a quarterback either, you're in trouble. and we've been blessed with some really good ones. When I first started out, we moved a kid named Darren Southwell to the backfield, and he was a stud. And then we had Luke Johnson, who you just had on the other day, and that kid was a stud. I remember I put it on the tweet I put out about it, congratulations on getting the job. But I remember when that kid was in junior high, we called him the future. We had that nickname for Luke. So,
wow.
We've had Luke Johnson. We've had, oh my goodness, Riley Fetter. It was just a human highlight reel running the ball. We had Michael Griffin. Like, we've had just a tremendous run of quarterbacks. And Colin's we had Braden Deem, who's now a starter at Monmouth College, who I am excited to see what he does this year. I think he'll be really good for Monmouth College this year, his senior year. But, now we got Colin. He's kind of next man up, and he hasn't let's just say he hasn't dropped the ball on that group and run of quarterbacks. He is holding that standard up very high. He's a hard worker. Everybody knows his being recruited for baseball. He's just a great athlete. And that's the thing that I think surprises a lot of people is, yeah, Colin the gunslinger, but they don't understand he's 6'3", 200 pounds. And that kid runs, the ball for us pretty good. I mean, he's a stud. Yeah. I think, and I think the other coaches in the conference saw it last year. I think it was pretty easy choice for him. He was offensive, the player of the year in the conference. And that was as a sophomore. So I think they see it too, but he's special. And the fun thing is that we've been lucky with all those kids that have played quarterback that are this way here, but they have that special mindset. They're just absolute competitors, and they don't want to lose. And they're great leaders for us. That kid is a fantastic kid, comes from a great family of hard workers. And it's someone you can rely on to be the head of your team. And we've been very lucky here at Rockridge with a run of that. And that's why one of the reasons we've been so good. Yeah,
I know his dad. Let's not get too carried away on a great family. No, I'm teasing. Of course, I'm teasing. When you look at that too, Coach, I remember, because this will be his third year as a starter. But for me, looking at his career, I feel like this is year 4, and let me explain why. Obviously, starting as a freshman at some point, it was probably uneven and choppy at some points. And I watched him go from the beginning of that freshman year to like the end, and it was night and day already in just one season. And then he came back last year and made another jump forward. Is there another jump forward? Is there another step to take for him as he becomes a junior and a senior at Rockridge High School?
The scary thing is, I think there is, honestly. Like you said, his freshman year, and I think his freshman year starting out slowly was more on Coach Graves than Colin, because I was scared, I was a little bit chicken calling plays for him, honestly. We starting out his very first game as a freshman, the first 3 plays were run the ball. It was like 3rd and 2 or 3. We ran hitches and they played press coverage because I was chicken to do anything else. With his first play, I wanted to give him something easy. They played press, and it was a pick 6.
Yeah.
That was his first pass attempt as a freshman. And it was me babying him along. And when finally that week 4, week 5, week 6, when things started opening up for him and he just was Colin the athlete on the field, that's when he turned into a monster. And I think the fun thing is that this year, what I've seen his going into his junior year is the understanding of the defenses more. And that's why I think that he's going to be, and I say a monster, is because he's been living off his pure talent and work ethic and determination. And now he's got the better head on his shoulders to understand things too. And when you can understand things, the field, it starts to slow down a little bit. So, I'm excited to see where this year goes. He's getting stronger and bigger. That's the thing too. Not only is his mental game going to be better, but he's bigger. And so I'm really excited to see where this goes for him and how it progresses, because you're right. Every year you saw him get better throughout the year. And that's no different than this year. If we can get him to do that this year again, it's kind of spooky where this kid can go.
Yeah, absolutely. Sam Graves joining me right now and Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Coach, quarterback is important, but he needs his toys. He needs his receivers. He needs his running game. And I know you guys want to be as balanced as ever. Talk about those skill positions, because there are familiar names when you talk about the steals and a returning running back and all those kind of things. And there's another Wheatley. Kind of talk about the skill positions and how they kind of fit with this thing.
Yeah, I would say, if you ask me what the strength of the team is, that's what it is, because that's where we have the most coming back, and that's why I say that. Like you said, we have the 2 Steele twins, Owen and Liam Steele. Those 2 are phenomenal athletes. Owen, and you see, again, that's another 6'3", 190-pound kid, a receiver who can run and attacks the ball in the air with his hands, who is I think is a wide receiver college coach's dream, the way he attacks the ball. And his size. So we have him coming back. Liam Steele, he doesn't have the size of Owen, but he's quicker. The opposite that you love to see is, speed kills in football. And we have that speed, and he can stretch things for us. And he's real shifty with the football. Like you said, we have another Wheatley. That's one of the kids that hurt losing last year. Was Landon became such a leader for us, Landon Wheatley, on the field at receiver and corner, and he was the voice of our secondary. That's one of those kids you look at and you're like, how do we replace that? I think his brother is going to help us do that. Chase is going to take a huge step this year at receiver. And, I think we were hesitant to have him go 2 ways right away, but he took it in the summer and ran with it. And he's been great at corner for us this whole summer. So now I know there's a difference that everybody's going to have to take a little step up when it comes to big boy football with pads and tackling, because summer you focus on learning and 7-on-7s and things like that. But I have no doubt this kid will stick his nose in there and do it. Like you said, in the backfield, we're not empty. We have Thomas Sowards coming back, who split time last year with Jacob Freiermuth. Jacob Freiermuth graduated. But we have Tanner Dye, who we're moving back there with Thomas Sowards. And Tanner Dye's been working his tail off. He is a big, strong kid. Thomas is a strong kid also, but is nifty and shifty and can move and has good vision. I'm excited about what they bring. And if I throw a 4th kid out there, it would be Wyatt Osborne at receiver. It's a kid that was a fresh soft player last year who had a great track season, who he's been putting a smile on our face. Let's just put that this summer, because when we have that speed opposite of Owen Steele, we're worried about who's going to keep the other side of the field honest and not let him rotate towards Owen, because we think Owen's going to be that good this year. And I tell you what, Wyatt with his speed, he's going to keep teams honest, and it's going to be fun with him getting the ball in his hands.
Coach, it's funny because you mentioned Cullen's size, and maybe I kind of think and said, can he block for himself? And that's no offense to the guys you have there, but they're younger, because you look at a Landon Bull and Jude Finch and the guys that graduated. Is that, I don't want to say a weakness by any stretch, but is that the question mark, or is that the work in progress maybe as we enter this fall for Rockridge?
Yeah, I absolutely. And I won't hide that. It's not like we're hiding anything saying that. It's the truth. Losing Landon Bull and Jude Finch, two all-state players, is, again, I talked about Landon Wheatley, where they graduate and you're like, how the heck do we replace that? That's a big question on offensive and defensive line. That's two of them who were all-state players. So, and Landon Bull, he just seemed like a Rockridge football staple for us, and basketball. I mean, that kid has been starting for 4 years.
He was the Jess Settles of Rockridge. I felt like he was there for 8 years, but and he looked like, towards the end, he kind of looked like it, Coach. He looked like it in the way of the beard and all that kind of stuff.
He had a better beard than I do. So,
well, that's not hard, but go ahead.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But the funny thing is that you have some positives. Ryan Lower, who tore his knee week 2, I think it was the first or second series against Princeton week 2, and he was out the rest of the year. He lost his wrestling season. That's a kid that went to state the year before in wrestling and lost his whole year because of that freak accident. He was actually a starter on O-line, and it was a tipped screen pass that he caught and ran and got tackled and blew out his knee. Just something freak that he lost. He feels terrible for him, because he had a great chance to be down in Champaign again for wrestling too. And if he's on the field, he helps us be a better football team in the rest of the way. He is coming back, so that's the good thing, is he's been out there for us. He's all the way cleared. He was cleared for track season, so that is a positive. Looking at some of the production we lost. That we do have him back. And then Tanner McCaig is up front, as a kid that he started left tackle since his freshman year, and now he's a senior. He's a stud both ways. So it's not like the cupboard's bare, but, kind of like we've discussed before, as a small school, we can't have that Ryan Lower knee injury again this year. Small school football, one trip up with an injury, and you're getting into some kids that probably need some more fresh, soft football time. And then you're forcing them to play some kids that maybe they shouldn't be yet, but they got to learn on the fly. So, I would say, yes, that is the spot. If you had to pick one, is a little thin right now. We need some quick, good work out of the young group of first-year varsity starters. There's going to be at least 3 guys that haven't started varsity ball yet up there. And they're going to have to be cohesive, communicate, and learn quickly for us.
No, absolutely. A few more before I let you go. You look at this conference of yours, and I love the schedule. I went and looked at it this afternoon, and I was like, man, you look at it and you've got like you start with Sherrard, a rivalry, and there's Princeton and Newman. It's a hard schedule, and everyone is talking about the Three Rivers and the improvement of some teams that makes it a really good conference. Kind of talk about the conference in a whole. I don't know, you got to run down everybody, but it has to help to be tested week in and week out when you get to that next season, that postseason that Rockridge is accustomed to being in.
Yeah, it does. I think there's always the argument, and that's for another show. You can have me on and we'll talk about that. But of how tough is tough, and when you're a borderline 1A, 2A school, where I think we're 320 now, having those 3 and 4A schools come into the conference that have kind of, let's be honest, made some 1A schools move out. I think there's the argument for that. Is that good for us or not? But it is. That's the benefit, is it gets you ready, without a doubt. If you come out of this conference and you are in the postseason, you can compete with anybody. And I think, a good example of that last year was Erie Prophetstown getting in at 5-4, and then they go over and almost trip up a 1 or a 2 seed.
1 seed.
Yeah, and they had them down to the wire, and we feel pretty good coming out of this conference, at the end of the year. So yes, and like you said, right away starting out with Sherrard, I know they haven't been where they've wanted to be the past few years, but it doesn't matter how good we felt like we've been the past few years. We've had some barn burners with them. It's one of those rivalry games where it doesn't matter. Like, kids play hard. It means something to the families. I think that's another argument for another day, but do rivalries mean as much as they used to us, the old guys? I don't know, but you can tell it matters enough because it's a tough played game every year. It doesn't matter. I don't care what the records are of Rockridge, Mercer County, Rockridge, Orion, Rockridge, Sherrard. Those are going to be tough games every year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny you mentioned that because Greg Armstrong and I did a best rivalries in Illinois over the summer because, well, we're bored and we love high school football. And it was funny because there's so many times that Rockridge was on it. And I think even, and I should know because we had about 7 or 8 people vote on it, but I even think like Rockridge and Newman was on the list because of the high level games they've had recently. And then you mentioned the Aledo Mercer County stuff that's back and going again. I found out about Rockridge Sherrard. I'm an Alleman kid, but I worked at Milan Hy-Vee growing up, and like I started working at Milan Hy-Vee, and there's Rockridge kids, Sherrard kids, and I'm like, man, these guys all like each other. I mean, it was legit. So I kind of learned at an early age about the Rockridge and Sherrard rivalry. So, well, Coach, I always appreciate your time. Always love the conversations. Best of luck this year. Hope you guys stay healthy and all that good stuff, and we'll talk to you again throughout the season sometime soon.
Hey, I appreciate the time, and you're doing a fantastic job. I think you got a lot of fans out this way in Rockridge territory, so maybe we can replace that Alleman helmet with an R helmet.
I tell people all the time, you send me a helmet. I got an Illini helmet up here, and I work for the Hawkeyes now. So I take free. And the only thing, Coach, no Bears crap. I got my Dan Campbell. I got my Lions stuff. No Bears crap on the desk. Other than that, we'll gladly take a Rockridge helmet anytime soon. So, all right, my friend, be good. Thanks, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. That is Sam Graves, the head coach out at Rockridge, taking a look at the Rockets. It should be another fun season out here. And I'm just down the road, and I don't have to do the score on Friday nights. I'm going to go check out some Rockridge football several times throughout the season, I'm assuming for sure. And, of course, Alleman as well. I'll be all over the place. So, anyways, we got more to get to coming up. We're going to hop the river. We're going to stay in this area and just head down to Muscatine and talk to their head coach as we preview the Muskies right here on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo on a Thursday right here in the Quad Cities.
Hello, Dan Pearson here of FCA. Our team is thrilled to support Off the Air with our good friend Matt Randazzo. We share the view of the power of sport when it comes to relationships, including the influence of the coach. FCA believes the coach is the most influential person in America. Matt celebrates local coaches and athletes. His content is informational, insightful, and inspirational. Our Fellowship of Christian Athlete team loves partnering with Off the Air with Matt Randazzo while we engage, equip, and empower coaches and athletes in our 23 counties. FCA, the heart and soul in sports.
View from the West, the podcast covering Illinois high school football.
It's going to be a hard-hitting game. It's going to be great football.
Weekly analysis and reaction from around the western side of the state of Illinois.
This is the game we had circled when the year started.
Follow along on YouTube and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
It's big-time football out there tonight, and I know we can play big-time football.
View from the West. We got you covered.
Are you looking for the Quad City's best chips and salsa? There's only one dude to turn to.
Right on.
Snoop. Hand-cut chips, fried fresh with that crunch you've come to love. And the most addicting salsa with delicious fresh ingredients each and every time. Pick up your chips and salsa, queso, enchiladas, and much more at the Stern Center in Rock Island. To place your order, simply call the man himself. It's Snoop at 309-314-8197. And find out for yourself what the rest of the Quad Cities already loves. Welcome back to Off the Air with Matt Randazzo here on a Thursday in the Quad Cities. Our high school football previews continuing today. Last week alone, we hit 8 schools. After today, another 8 more this week. So we're almost through 16 schools already, and the 16th school is continuing down the road. Last segment, we were in Rockridge, and we just went down the road, hops the bridge, and we're in Muscatine, where we find our good friend Mike Truitt. Mike, first and foremost, thank you for doing this. I know the summer goes by quickly, and the seasons come quickly. What was that summer like for you guys in Muscatine? You guys get ready for year 2 under you as a head coach?
Yeah, we had a good summer. We're a 4-day-a-week team in the summer. We go Monday through Thursday. We do football stuff Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays. Thursday for us is a competition team. So I select off-season team leaders. They draft their teams. Then on Thursday, we come up with some sort of competition that we do the whole time. We keep team points. We have a team champion. They get to go out for dinner. They get T-shirts, just to kind of build that competition part of it instead of just football all 4 days. But we were pretty solid at 50 kids, 55 kids every day. And again, it's just a learning experience. Get kids out there, get those 9th grade kids up there to start learning, how things look. Even this year, something different I did was bring in the kids that are going to be in 8th grade. And cool. Just let them kind of hang out with us, so that I'm hoping by next year, when it's summer, kids aren't scared to come, that they know what it looks like. It's not big and scary. We're not knocking kids out. It's just all learning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It sounds like a fun summer. Where was when they win?
Oh, so they, as a team, they get to choose where they go.
Okay. Did they like anything fancy?
No, usually it's Boonies here in town, sports bar.
All right.
They like.
Hopefully they didn't make you. Hopefully they didn't get away with McDonald's or something like that. I mean, hopefully they made you earn it a little bit.
We're not going to McDonald's.
I love it. Mike Truitt joining me on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo. Coach, it's year 2 under you as a head coach. No stranger to the program. Been there for a long time. I think it's your 11th season at Muscatine. Is there a big difference for you, or what have you seen is the differences for you between year 1 and year 2 as the head coach?
I think year 1 was very stressful because the interview process kind of took a long time, and we were kind of in limbo of who's going to be the head coach. The kids didn't know who it was going to be. And I don't think I was even announced the head coach until almost the end of April. So it was like, in the background, I had a game plan of what, my calendar for the whole football season was done, but I wasn't even announced the head coach. If it happened, here it is, we're rolling. So there was a lot of stuff to do. Fortunately, Coach Hawkins, who was the head coach for 3 years previous to me, him and I were very close in working together. So I had a good idea of, like, in the school district, what the head coach did, what, all the different organizations, the football club, all these things. I had an understanding of it. So I wasn't going in blind like somebody that moved to a new district, but it was very stressful, like trying to get everything done. This year, don't get me wrong, it's still stressful. There's a lot of things going on, but now you can kind of, okay, I've already done this. I got this already planned out. I got all this stuff. But at the end of the day, there's still a lot going on.
No, absolutely. You mentioned being there for a while, being there for 11 years. You're kind of a mainstay there. To have it as your program, and I don't mean it as your program, and you're not conceited. You don't look at it probably as your program, but to hit the ground running and get involved. What were the changes that you wanted to make, or how did you put a stamp on it as your program, knowing that you'd been there for over a decade? So it's not like you're the new guy in town. How did you tweak it or change it to make it your program?
The first year, just kind of basically had to make some coaching changes as far as, so as the head coach, I'm also the offensive coordinator, but the previous head coach was the defensive coordinator. So now I had to find, assign that defensive coordinator and what did he want to do to make it his defense. And the offense wasn't going to change because that's what I wanted to do. But now it's just kind of like the kids know what we're going to do. They know what the expectations are, how we do things, how we coach, the expectations that we have for them, whether it's on the field. Our expectations for the kids in the classroom and in the school are at the top. We expect our kids to be the best athletes or the best students in the school. And now it was time that I could settle down a little bit as the head coach and work on changing the culture of our team. Some of the things that, like, I've been started watching the SEC thing on Netflix about the SEC colleges.
Yeah.
And Brian Kelly said, his mortgage and his livelihood and everything depended upon 18 to 21-year-olds. Well, as high school coaches, our livelihood is dependent upon 14 to 18-year-old kids, and so try to get them to change the culture, the way we do things, the expectations, not coaches always holding kids, the players to expectations and making them accountable, but to get to the point where my upperclassmen are holding the underclassmen and their peers accountable. So I don't always have to be the bad cop or my assistants have to be the bad cop. Now we're getting to the point where the kids are policing themselves, if that makes sense.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. When you look at it too, so let's go back to last year and it was a 3-6 season, but that last victory was a nice one. A come from behind victory. I think you won in the last second. Those kind of things, not just getting, a victory or two, but to get to 3 victories and the way it happened, had to kind of boost you guys into the off season, into what you want to get done this summer and then into this year as well.
Yeah, as a head coach, obviously all of us want to win that last game. It just carries that momentum into the next season. But when you win with 2 seconds left from the 20-yard line, like you couldn't script a better ending to a season than that. I mean, it just they scored. We got the ball back with 40 seconds, or they kicked to us with 40 seconds, and somehow they miskicked the ball, and we got the ball at the 40-yard line. So we had 60 yards to go, and I think we had 22 seconds to go, and it was just a perfect ending to a season. I couldn't have scripted it any better, and the kids, like, it definitely into we do what's called a breakfast club. We get together on Saturdays and just play games. I bring in 7th grade through 12th grade, and we just play, we play kickball, we play dodgeball, and it really, you could tell a difference this year when we did that, just, I think, because of the way the season ended. We had so much confidence at it.
Absolutely. I want to be a Muskie. I want to come hang out with you guys. You're playing games on Saturday, competition games on Thursday. I like it. Mike Truitt joining me right now. What's that?
Well, D-line coach. How's that?
There you go. Mike Truitt joining me right now on Off the Air with Matt Randazzo, Muscatine head coach. Looking ahead to this season, obviously you have a running back that Seth Ryland, who played really well last year, to kind of build around, and a familiar face. What other names? What does this year look like? What do you guys want to do at Muscatine to be successful this year?
Well, I'll be honest with you. I started a leadership council, or had a leadership council in the off season. And one of the first things we did were just set a team goals for the year. And two of our main team goals are, we want to lead the state in rushing at 5A, and we want to lead the state in forced turnovers defensively. So that has really been what we've built our whole off season around, is those 2 goals. And I mean, we preach it in practice. Every day we're working on turnovers at all times. The defense after a play